Hey, what's up, BookTube? Thought I'd bring you outside today for a book haul. I've got 8 books to show you today. You'll hear some background noises as usual, cicadas every once in a while, construction work. Hopefully the wind isn't going to make too much noise, but we're going to try this out. So, to get started, the first book I have is Living and Dying on the Internet by Alex Day. This is a YouTuber who I've been watching his channel for quite some time. He's a musician. He's one of the first people, I think, in the UK to actually make money from his YouTube videos. A bit of a career for him in a way. Also, a bit of a downfall. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this particular person, and I guess he kind of talks about it on this. That's hence the title, Living and Dying on the Internet. He's sort of come back now. I don't know if this is necessarily an apology to the events that took place. I'm not going to judge any of that. I'm not going to go into the controversy of it. I just want to see what he has to say, and I'm interested in his writing, so I'm going to check it out. The next book I have is a biography on Shirley Jackson called A Rather Haunted Life. This is by Ruth Franklin. It came out a little while ago, but I'm just starting to read my way through Shirley Jackson's catalog. I've read The Haunting of Hill House, and now I've read her first book, which I'm blanking on the title. But anyway, I'm kind of starting over. I'm reading them in chronological order of their release, and I thought it'd be nice to kind of read a little bit on the background of her life, and so I picked that one up. Then I got a couple books that I bought used recently that I spotted all at once, and I want to read more of this author's works. This is Italo Calvino. He wrote If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, which I read fairly recently, and I really, really enjoyed that, and I want to read more Italian authors, and I want to read more of his works too. So, like I said, I saw these used copies in really great condition, so I picked them up. The first one is, I thought it was just called Palomar, but it's actually Mr. Palomar, and it seems to be a collection of stories based on this character. It's very thin, and it just says he's a delightful eccentric whose chief activity is looking at things. So it's his observations of the world, and it just says it renders the world afresh. So, yeah, there's just that slim little volume there. The next one is a collection of 3 short stories called Into the War. And this is somewhat, this is his first, or perhaps his only, semi-autobiographical work of fiction. Whenever I hear autobiography and fiction, it sounds odd. But he takes his experiences of being an adolescent during the Second World War and puts them into these stories, which will be interesting to hear, because my father grew up in Italy, and as a young boy during the Second World War, he's told me some stories too of things that he'd seen, and but yeah, this will be kind of interesting. It's set during the summer of 1940, draws on his own memoirs of adolescence, when he was too young to force the fight in Mussolini's army, but old enough to be conscripted into the Italian Youth Brigades. Luckily, my father was much younger than that. The callow narrator of these tales observes the mounting unease of a city girding itself for war, the looting of an occupied French town, the nighttime revels during a blackout, etc., etc. So, yeah, again, another slim little volume of short stories. And then another collection of short stories. This is Difficult Loves, and it's just pretty much explores the lives of ordinary people, and it's grouped into different categories. We have the Riviera stories, wartime stories, which aren't the same as the 3 that were in that previous book, post-war stories, and then stories of love and loneliness. So there's that. And then another author whose works I'm reading my way through is Daphne du Maurier. I'm participating in the Daphne du Maurier project run by Ange over at Beyond the Pages. It's a Goodreads group that you can join, and we're reading her books in chronological order, one every month. And I saw her show this one particular book in a haul, and I thought I'd better try and track it down as soon as I can. It's just a tiny little novella, and it's called Happy Christmas. It's literally like about 30 pages long. It's been out of print for quite some time now. I don't know if it's been reprinted or not, or this just happened to be a copy floating around. But it's centered around the Lawrence family, comfortable, wealthy, happy family, whose Christmas festivities are abruptly interrupted while at the arrival of two refugees with nowhere else to go. That's what it says. And this is just like typical du Maurier books. There's a bit of a twist to the story, so I'm curious what that is. I'm not sure where this will fall within the reading outline, because we are reading them in order, but I'm hoping it will fall around Christmas. Next up is one of my favorite authors. I've read almost all of his works except for these 2. This one I'll have to, as part of a series, the first one here, it's a middle grade series, and I'd read the first 2 quite some time ago, so I'll probably have to reread those before I pick up this one. This is the Iron Zoltar, which is book 3 in the Chronicles of Kazam. A weird kind of story, kind of a magical world. We have a teenage non-magical person who is in charge of the Kazam Mystical Arts Management. That's about all I remember about it. There's a dragon in there and all sorts of stuff. The first book is called The Last Dragon Slayer, and the second one is The Song of the Quark Beast. I just remember, like all of his books, they're humorous, they're very quirky kind of plot lines, really intriguing, very cleverly written, and just really great characters. So I'm looking forward to kind of finishing off the series, but again, I have to restart it first. And then the last one I have to show you is his latest book. It just came out. It's an adult, what would you call it? Fantastical fiction? I don't know, part sci-fi. It's a little bit of everything. This is called Early Riser. This is particularly cool cover. Hello. This is a first edition UK, which I just ordered through Amazon. So literally just came out, and it's about a world where during the 4 months of winter, the world hibernates, with the exception of a few people that kind of look out for the hibernating people. And there's something about an outbreak of viral dreams. It starts to spread to everybody, including our main character, and it seems the dreams start to kill people, and then our main character gets this dream. So, as he describes it, says, the dreams start to come true. Our main character begins to doubt their sanity. But teasing the truth from winter, with a capital W, is never easy. You have to avoid the villains and their penchant for murder, kidnapping and stamp collecting, ensure you aren't eaten by nightwalkers whose thirst for human flesh can only be satisfied by comfort food, and sidestep the increasingly less than mythical winter Volk. But as long as you remember to wrap up warmly, you'll be fine. So, I mean, you can see the weird sense of humor that he has with his plot lines. You never know what you're going to get from Jasper Fforde book, other than the fact that you'll get something good. So, I highly recommend him if you haven't read anything by him. Start with The Air Affair, which is the first in the Thursday Next series. I really love it. So, anyway, that is my book haul. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've read these authors before, let me know down below what you think of them, or if you think any of these sound interesting, if you might want to try them out. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.